And I'll stop the recording when we get into the critique, okay? So, yeah, we have a lot of beautiful, you guys have been going to town. You have some beautiful pieces to share. And I'm gonna, let's see, oh, okay, so this week's project is to do a interior. And I don't have a demo video for you, but I'm going to show you several pieces of interiors by other collage artists to that we can look at and to give you some ideas. I thought this would be a good assignment. I've never done this in class before, but I thought with all the time that we've spent at home in our interior spaces, it might help us kind of expand our minds a little bit about our spaces and maybe even prompt some rearranging of space. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at some of these. I'll get my share screen up. And I always think it's a good idea to look at other people's work as well. Okay, I'll get rid of that and move this over. Okay, let me see here. What's this? I find the laptop screen is a lot smaller. There we go. Okay, can you guys see this okay? It's
Yes.
I know it's a little pixelated because it was a small image, but hopefully you can get an idea of it. So there's a variety. Well, by the way, I know a lot of you got some collage papers, and those will probably really come in handy for this project. I think this type of work with interior spaces, which are generally more geometric forms, I think the cut and paste papers works a little better than the intuitive painting. Next week we'll be doing a landscape, and for that one you could use either. But this week the focus is a little bit more on the collage and less on painting and the mixed media that we've been doing. So you'll notice, there are these variety of textured papers on the outside in neutrals, and then again, more cut papers here to delineate walls and shelves, and then with some chairs. So there's some realism here, but the actual space is quite abstract, but also not, I mean, it's kind of abstract, but like they followed the perspective and everything. So when you're doing architecture, you want to have a vantage point. So the vantage point is back here, and all the lines lead to the vantage point. See that? This? So that's what you want to keep in mind if you're trying to create kind of a realistic space like that. Any questions or comments? I'm going to kind of go through these. I have a number of them, but if you haven't, oh, I forgot to mute everybody, but you're not making a lot of noise. So anyways, if you want to chime in with any comments or observations, please do. What you can do is cut out, if you want to put realistic pieces of furniture in, or people or plants or pets or whatever, you can always cut them out of magazines too.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah, this one's mostly black and white with a lot of patterny kind of papers, really just really highly cut up and pasted. And I know it's hard to see. Again, I apologize for these photos being so small, but you can see there are some interior spaces in here. So it's a whole like mishmash that includes a lot of black and white tiled floors. It looks like is kind of the common theme. And then just abstract geometric stripes and diamonds worked in. So kind of a busy pattern.
Carissa, what was the vantage point on that piece?
That one didn't have a vantage point because it wasn't trying to create a realistic space.
Okay.
You only do that if you're really trying to make it look dimensional and, you know, actual.
Thanks.
Here's one. It looks like maybe there's some painting in this one, as a combination of painting and cutout paper that has a fireplace, you know, some of the architectural details in the ceiling and the wall. There's a window here. It looks like a window from a magazine, and then a couch and a coffee table and some patterny areas for rugs here. This one, there's a lot of pink. So there's like this pink and peachy color repeated throughout the piece, which really helps tie it together. Again, a lot of cutout shapes. It looks like they combined, like, look how the rug here lines up with the different rug here. And then they took that pink line and moved it across here. And then this actually goes off out of the border, this wall cut out here with some windows up here. So it looks like they collaged on different photos from different interiors to create this room and this space. Look how the couch, there's half of one couch combined with part of another couch here. But it's all tied together with the color, right? Like, see the peach, the darker peach down here, echoing the light peach in the ceiling. And then there's some shelves over here that has the same colors. So one thing you can do when you're gathering your images for your interior, you can pretend like that you're an interior designer or a decorator, and you're coming up with your color themes, and select your colors, you know, that you're going to put in your space. And then use that pile to choose your imagery from. That will help you keep a sense of kind of order to it all. It's one way, is through color. This one is super abstract. It's almost Picasso-ish, but it is an interior. So this is really abstracted, you know. And I think there might, it looks like, I wonder if this whole thing, no, I think this is a combination of collage and painting. And I can't really explain what the artist was thinking, but it's rather a cubist type of composition.
It reminds me of Picasso and Brock when they were doing those.
Exactly.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you consider this an interior?
It was labeled as such in my
okay.
title. Yeah, the title is an interior.
Okay, cool.
So that's how I know, because
I was just curious. Okay.
the artist told me.
Good. Good
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
Carissa, can you tell us how you think the artist or where the artist started with a piece like this?
Well, it's hard to say, but it looks to me like this area, it looks like there's some brown printed paper underneath, like down here underneath, there was some collaged paper with some text. And then like this blue is painted on top of. So I think there was collage, and this looks like it's painted on top of. So I think that they started with collaging different papers that had some text, and it looks German or something, and then went over with these kind of cubist forms with paint.
Thank you.
Well, this one's really tiny. Let me get it bigger for us. Okay, so this one has, I almost think this might have some fabric in it or something. I'm not really sure what the rug is, but it's super textured. So this one has, you know, a lot of different, like these chairs. The rug has this stripe pattern. There's this brick pattern over here. This chair is cut out of a patterny paper. This chair is cut out of a patterny paper. And then they've actually cut out, you know, these black and white photos for the pictures on the wall. The chairs are kind of a little off kilter. It's a little, everything's kind of a little unsettled in a way, like topsy-turvy.
Do you know who that artist is or the name of that? I like that a lot. I'd love to look that up.
I don't have the artist. A lot of these were just, I got on Pinterest or places where I mean, some of them the artists were identified, but this one was not. So sorry, I didn't.
It's very playful, whimsical.
Yes, whimsical. Yeah, I'm trying to show you how there's so many, you know, there's such a range of styles and attitudes that you can take with this. You can get really sophisticated and highly polished, or you can be super whimsical and playful with it. You can be more formal. This one is a little more formal, I'd say. So again, it's tied together with, here's this blue and red door. And here's this blue and red photo of the women. And then these cut out pattern repeated, you know, these are kind of repetition. That helps tie it together too. If you use the same paper throughout your piece a few different times, it can kind of help it tie it together. And notice how these are all along the border of the piece. They're kind of acting a little bit as a frame. The door is kind of like the entry, but it's up higher. I mean, again, it's a little, everything's a little off kilter. And this artist kept their cutouts really, you know, rectangular and square. No rounded edges here. It's all the paper is geometric, like square rectangular forms. There's the circular pattern behind these women is repeated here with the plates on the wall. And then again here on the table with some round forms. So repeating forms, you know, is another way to have the piece hold together. Because otherwise, this is kind of a disjointed piece, but it's held together just on a visual level with the colors and the patterns and the shapes, not by content as much. I'm trying to get the whole, let's see. Okay, this one, there we go. Let's see if I can get it a little. This one, there's kind of this house shape. It's almost like looking in a dollhouse or something. See, here's the roof line and the wall coming down. Here's the downstairs. Here's part of a window. So basically, again, just a lot of cut out geometric shapes, but they're put together in a way that, you know, looks like an interior. It looks to me like they painted some of the papers too. A lot of black, leaving some of the text on the paper just to kind of, you know, make the viewer aware that it is collage. Repetition of the peach, right? Repetition of the blue, repetition of the green and the black. So the colors are cohesive. Okay, this one. So there's a lot of strong black. This is another one that has kind of a vantage point. You know, the vantage point. See how this upper line goes down here, and then down here the table goes here. So where those would meet is the vantage point, and it's kind of somewhere in this window. So everything's kind of pointing outside to this window. Even the rug is leading you back into the window. Kind of an interesting piece. Most of these interiors, we've seen a couple with the human figure in. Most of them tend to be empty spaces.
Carissa, can I ask you what, and if I'm being irritating, just tell me to.
No.
What were you thinking of with the assignment? Like, what inspired you to create this interior assignment? Is there?
Well, as I was saying, because we've been quarantined, and a lot of us have been spending so much time in our interior spaces, and also on a psychological level, it's been a time of going within. And so it seemed appropriate.
Great, thank you.
Carissa,
Carissa,
my question is, I'm looking at a lot of these and I see the 3-dimension, and I think for me, it seems challenging to create that effect for the first time cutting out paper.
So maybe don't try to take that on. Some of these have shown just flat designs. Maybe just cut out different, like Remember the one where like there was half a couch cut out and then another half of a different couch cut out and they were formed together to make one couch?
Right.
Maybe you can just cut out different elements of an interior and then just piece them together in a flat way. It doesn't have to be dimensional. Like this one's really dimensional.
Mhm.
There's a lot of space in this one,
Right.
but they don't have, they can be flat. We'll get you some more flat ones and I will emphasize.
Okay, thank you.
Chris,
Uh-huh.
I just want to add, I mean, when I was looking through your themes, which I think are wonderful places to hinge our ideas off of, when I saw the word interior, I immediately went into the interior of my mind.
And
And,
you can do that
and
as
I think
well.
that that is another way
Yeah.
to approach
Yes, you
interior.
can
It
do
can
the
still be
interior.
the interior of a space, but also the interior of our mind.
Right, you could do
Mhm.
that. And that one, that area gets pretty esoteric and pretty abstract and not really, I mean, I have done lessons on that with intuitive painting, but right now toward the beginning of our class, I'm trying to get your skills built up. You know, your visual skills and like compiling shapes and colors. And so this just seemed like a more concrete way for you to work. But by all means, if you want to explore the interior of your being, please do that as well. You know, I mean, as I said, this has been a time of being interior both in our physical spaces and in our inner, you know, personal selves for sure.
Carissa, can we also do it like an abstract?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, you don't have to make it look real. Let's see if we have some more abstract ones here.
On this one, for just a second here, how did they make that floor look reflective? Was that painted after they did paper on? What did they do to?
I'm not really sure. It does, I mean, it looks like it looks more like a, you know, I honestly can't say. I don't know if they took a photo.
Okay.
Might have, you know what it looks like to me? It looks like this is a photo of a space
What?
that they added paint onto. So
Oh, okay. That's another way to do it, huh?
yeah, that would be another way to do
Huh, okay. Thank you.
it. Okay, well, this one's getting more abstract. So let's take a look at this one.
I like that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so this one's super abstract, you know, but yet it reads as interior. And there's a shadow here, there's a shadow repeated here. But the repetition again of these geometric, you know, black and white shapes. Here's just a pattern over here. A picture of a window. Here's a cutout of an interior space. So just even including cutouts of part of an interior space or a door or a window and keeping your shapes fairly geometric is going to help create that space of your interior. And this one is held together again, black and white throughout the whole piece, but heavily on the sides, kind of framing it, like bookending it. And then these windows. Notice how these interjected window shapes kind of are on the same plane over here too. So there's this horizontal, you know, continuum going across the page here. Held together again by this tannish and the red. But that's a good example of going more abstract. Okay, I've got a few more here. Here's another super abstract one. You know, when you're doing this, you can kind of hone your design skills. Just see who that is.
I like those.
I like that.
I do too.
Yeah, this one's pretty neat. So it looks like it's been divided. There's one larger rectangle over here with these 4 squares.
It almost looks like an aerial view of a layout of a home.
A neighborhood, or yeah, the layout of a home. And that would be another approach. And there's this thing going on in this one where, you know, as well as the geometric shapes, there are these shapes that are a little more tapered here. These white ones going across and then these black ones going down, and then there.
Can we use colored paper?
Yeah.
Can we use colored paper?
It's hard to say, but it looks like well, there might be some paint on here too, but it looks to me like it's cut out paper.
It could be in a frame. It almost looks like a shadow box.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I want you to notice the contrast between these really large kind of striped areas and then these smaller detailed ones. That's a way to get good contrast, is to vary the width of your patterns, your shapes. A little bit of green in here, so that would be like the accent color. You know, the main colors are the red, the brown, white, and black, with just a little touch of this accent of the green, the light green, which is pretty. It would be different without that. This one, yeah, I'm not really sure how they did this, but it looks, so it looks like there's a picture, some furniture and things that they placed, they collaged. Yeah, I think they just took different interiors and collaged them all together. And then, so here's this more realistic space here. And then look how you get to the right, and there's almost like this falling and this collapse of these geometric shapes kind of spilling out from the interior and along here. It's really, that's an interesting composition. So this is like combining a more realistic space and then this totally abstract border along the edge and the bottom. But it's held together. Look, here's the same exact colors, this blue and coral color, and this brown and black, the same exact colors. Here's the tan from the curtains. So they work together.
That one looked like it was from Palm Springs Modernism show.
Oh, cool. Again, this looks like all collaged papers of different interiors put together, pieced together, including this spiral staircase, which I think is not all one staircase. I think they took, it looks like they took a few different photos of a spiral staircase and made it into one. Stuck this picture of the woman inside. And then notice how the size of the objects, this is another way to create perspective. They cut out these different books, but notice how the books get smaller as they go back. And the furniture gets smaller as it goes back. So that's another way to create space. This edge of a fireplace here with this mantle and these flowers in the foreground, make that pop forward. Held together with the pink and the red and the black.
Interesting how the colors play such a role in these, even
Yeah.
they really make a difference.
They do. That's why I encourage you when you're cutting out your imagery, just to try to stick to like a limited palette.
Mhm.
Don't have every color in the rainbow, because then you're going to be able to hold your pieces together. So in this one, you know, the main colors are this green, different shades of green, and then different shades of this kind of goldy, rusty earth tone. So this is a very earthy, earth-colored piece. Look at this. There's this figure of a man with a door and a window on his clothing. And then it looks like the man himself is collaged with different photographs. And then look at this little couch back here. So this one's kind of, and then these abstract V shapes. Kind of interesting. Okay, so those are all the samples that I have to share with you. I'm going to stop the recording.